Hello, and thank you for choosing to come on to Fat Ass Medea's channel, aka Jay. These are the 10 keys to a healthy relationship, even though I think there are only six, but we're gonna get into ways because, yeah. Um, so the the keys that I have is the so far the five steps plus one extra step is to a healthy relationship is you can you have to have trust, you have to have empathy, you have to have communication, you got to know the respect of a relationship and the difference between respect and disrespect. You got to have boundaries. Boundaries is the number one. If you don't have boundaries, there is more than likely not going to be anything that you can do in a relationship to make it healthy, no matter how hard you try, no matter what. And trust it from experience, there is nothing more that you got to have but support. So if someone's down in the relationship, you can bring them back up. Be that moral support. Um, So, without further ado, let's get into this little love segment here. Um, Stupid computer, waiting for it to load, ain't nothing. So, the first thing besides trust is commitment. You gotta be committed to a relationship in order to make it work. If you don't have a commitment, if you don't make that commitment, if you don't focus on the commitment, how can it ever work, right? You might as well just call yourself a friends with benefits or something because there ain't no commitment. The next one is communication. Communication is key. If you don't communicate, how is anyone supposed to know anything? Experience. Just know that communication is a best part of a relationship besides commitment. The next one for a healthy relationship is respect. That is spelt RESPECT. Respect. You got to respect one another in order to make it work. If you don't respect, bye bye. The next one is boundaries. You got to set those boundaries around you. If you don't have boundaries, I don't know how you're even making a relationship work because in reality, you got to have a boundary in order to do anything. Example, I don't want you doing this, but have a respectable boundary. Okay. The next one is support. You got to support one another. If you can't support your spouse and they can't support you, what are you doing? Get rid of them. The next thing I'm going to do is talk about empathy. What does empathy have to do in a relationship? The definition of empathy, it is a noun and it's coming from the dictionary.com and it's the ability to understand and feel the sharings of another. Empathy is the capacity to understand and feel what another person is experiencing from within their frame of reference. That is, of course, the capacity to place oneself in another's position. And it also says that the definitions of empathy encompass a broad range of emotional states. So the three different types of empathy is emotional, cognitive, and compassionate. The emotional part of empathy is when you feel or when you feel something because someone else does. This is emotional empathy. You may have noticed when you saw a very sad part in a movie and you cried. The example is the Titanic movie. Cognitive empathy is involving thinking more than feeling. Cognitive empathy means putting yourself in someone else's shoes. When you talk to a friend about something that is bothering you and you feel understood by that person, it is often because your friend is using cognitive empathy. Sometimes it may not be, but that is usually what it is. Compassionate empathy. This is the kind of empathy that leads to action. When you see someone in need and you offer the person some food or money, that is compassionate empathy. Now, you may get told and this is going off subject, but say that you see some dude or some chick on the side of the road and it says, they're holding a sign that says, help, need help because I am a father of 4 kids and my wife is on a job and she's disabled and something. Now you may have compassionate empathy and just say, okay, I'm going to give him $5. Here you go. And the kid may come up to the car and take the money and run it back to his father and stuff like that. It may be true, it may not. Who knows? What does empathy have to do in a relationship? Feeling empathy for another person means putting yourself in their shoes. It is the ability to imagine what somebody else is thinking or feeling. Empathy means caring as much about your partner's well-being as you care about your own. And it can make the difference between a healthy relationship and an unhealthy one. Communication, what is it? It is the imparting of an exchanging of information or news. Means of sending or receiving information such as phone lines or computers. It is the definition from the Oxford definition.com. What is communication? Communication is the act of conveying means from one entity or group to another through the use of mutually understood signs, symbols, and semantic rules. Being able to communicate effectively is perhaps the most important to all life skills. What is it? It is what enables us to pass information to other people and to understand what it is that is said to us. The 5 types of communication is verbal, nonverbal, written, listening, and visual. What you're doing right now is you probably have listening communication right now, to be honest. Verbal communication occurs when we engage in speaking with others. It can be face-to-face over phone, via Skype or Zoom, etc. Some verbal engagements are such as meetings. Regardless of the type, it is not about the words. It is also about the collaboral and complexity of those words. How we string those words together to create an overarching message, as well as the intonation, so the pitch, the tone, the cadence, etc., while we are speaking. Nonverbal communication, and this I got from a website from the importance of effective communication. The nonverbal communication can play 5 roles. Repetition, it repeats and often strengthens the message you are making verbally. Contradiction, it contradicts the message you're trying to convey, thus indicating to your listener that you may not be telling the truth. Substitution, it can substitute for a far more vivid message than the words ever can. Complementing, it may add to or complement your verbal message. A boss, if you're pat an employee on the back, in addition to giving praise, it can the impact of your message. Accenting, it may accent or underline a verbal message. Pounding the table, for example, can underline an importance to your message. Your facial expressions may be nonverbal. Body movement or posture. Gestures, eye contact, the touch, the space, the voice. Those are all examples of nonverbal communication. What is written communication? Written communication involves the type of interaction that makes use of written words. Communication is key to an endeavor involving more than one person. It is essential for small business owners and managers also to develop written communication. Communication skills and encourage the same in all employees and all relationships. Makes sense? Examples of written communication is the act of writing, typing, or printing symbols like numbers, letters to convey information. It is helpful because it provides a record of information for reference. Writing is commonly used to share information through books, pamphlets, blogs, letters, memos, and more. Receive and interpret messages in the communication process. Listening is key to all effective communication. Without the ability to listen effectively, messages are easily misunderstood. Effectively listening is a skill that underpins all positive human relationships. What is visual communication? Hold on. Hello?